Claire Bennett thought losing the biggest contract of her career was already the worst thing that could happen. She blamed only one person for her humiliation: successful businessman Ethan Hayes. Arrogant, cold, and impossible to deal with, Ethan had ruined months of hard work with one decision. Claire wanted nothing more than to never see him again. But fate had a strange sense of humor. After attending a business event in Las Vegas, one too many glasses of champagne and a night neither of them could clearly remember changed everything. Claire woke up with a terrible headache inside a luxurious hotel suite. The room looked unfamiliar and her memories were a blur, but nothing prepared her for what she saw next. Sleeping beside her was Ethan Hayes, the same Ethan Hayes she couldn't stand. Panicked, Claire tried to understand what had happened. Then she noticed the rings, and moments later the marriage certificate. Somehow, during a night of celebration and chaos, they had become husband and wife. Neither of them could believe it. The news sent both of them into complete shock. Ethan was furious. Claire was horrified. Getting married to each other had never been part of either of their plans. Surely they could fix this mistake, or so they thought. Because what neither of them knew was that this accidental marriage was only the beginning, and escaping it would prove far more difficult than waking up to it. Claire and Ethan immediately agreed on one thing: their marriage had to end. Unfortunately, life had other plans. After contacting lawyers and trying every possible solution, they discovered something unexpected. The annulment process couldn't happen immediately. To make matters worse, pictures from Las Vegas had already begun spreading online. Rumors exploded everywhere. Friends, clients, and business associates were all talking about the shocking marriage. For Ethan, the scandal threatened his reputation. For Claire, it could destroy her professional future. Neither of them wanted more complications, so Ethan suggested something neither of them liked: pretend, just for a while. Appear happy, smile in public, and convince everyone their marriage was real. Claire hated the idea. Spending another day with Ethan sounded unbearable. But losing everything she had worked for sounded even worse. Reluctantly, she agreed. What started as a temporary arrangement quickly became a dangerous game. Because pretending to love someone was difficult, especially when that person constantly got under your skin, and even more dangerous when sparks began appearing where hatred once existed.
Fake marriage came with one major problem: living together. Since the public believed they were happily married, Claire moved into Ethan's apartment, and from the very first day disaster followed. They argued over everything: the thermostat, the television, the kitchen, even which side of the bed belonged to whom. Their personalities clashed constantly. Claire thought Ethan was controlling. Ethan thought Claire was stubborn. Neither was willing to surrender. Yet beneath all the arguments, something unexpected slowly began to happen. They started learning each other's habits. Ethan noticed how Claire stayed up late working. Claire discovered that Ethan secretly took care of everyone around him without expecting praise. And despite their endless fights, they couldn't ignore one strange truth. Life suddenly felt less lonely. Neither of them was ready to admit it. But the walls between enemies were beginning to crack, and neither realized that their biggest challenge wasn't sharing an apartment, it was sharing their hearts.
Keeping up appearances became harder than either Claire or Ethan expected, especially when Ethan's mother invited them to a family dinner. Margaret Hayes had dreamed of seeing her son settle down for years, and the moment she met Claire, she absolutely adored her. Claire's kindness and warmth instantly won Margaret over. Meanwhile, Ethan struggled to keep their secret hidden. Throughout the evening, everyone admired the newlyweds. Questions about their love story came nonstop. The two enemies were forced to act like the perfect couple, holding hands, smiling, laughing together. And somehow, they became surprisingly convincing. To everyone else, they looked deeply in love. But what neither Claire nor Ethan expected was how natural it all began to feel. For a few brief moments, pretending no longer felt like acting. And that realization scared them both. Because feelings had a way of appearing when least expected. Just when life seemed to be settling into an unusual routine, trouble arrived. Her name was Victoria Sinclair. Elegant, Beautiful and sophisticated, Victoria was Ethan's former fiancée, and she wasn't happy. She had expected Ethan to eventually come back to her. Instead, she found him married to another woman. Victoria refused to believe the marriage was real. Convinced that Claire was only temporary, she decided to fight for what she believed belonged to her. Slowly, she began inserting herself back into Ethan's life. She attended business events, visited his office, and made sure Claire felt like an outsider. For the first time, Claire experienced something she didn't understand: jealousy. She hated seeing Victoria close to Ethan. But why? After all, this marriage was fake, wasn't it? Meanwhile, Ethan found himself increasingly irritated by Victoria's behavior and strangely protective of Claire. Neither of them understood what was happening, but one thing was becoming clear. Their greatest enemy wasn't each other anymore, and someone was determined to destroy whatever they were. Love often arrived quietly, but jealousy announced itself loudly. When Claire began working closely with a handsome client, Ethan experienced a feeling he had never expected. He hated seeing another man make her smile. The sight bothered him more than it should, far more. Meanwhile, Victoria continued trying to reclaim her place beside Ethan, and every time Claire saw them together, her heart tightened. Neither of them wanted to admit the truth, because admitting the truth would change everything. Their arguments became more emotional. Their concern for each other became impossible to hide, and beneath the teasing and sarcasm, affection had taken root. Friends and family noticed the difference, but Claire and Ethan remained stubborn. They still insisted this marriage was temporary. They still pretended they were in control, but feelings don't ask for permission. And sometimes, the heart falls in love long before the mind is ready. Unfortunately, someone else had already noticed, and they were preparing to use those feelings against them. A business trip changed everything. Far away from daily stress and endless distractions, Claire and Ethan found themselves spending time together in a way they never had before. Without pressure, without pretending, without anyone watching. For the first time, they laughed freely. They shared memories, dreams, and fears they rarely revealed to anyone. Claire saw a side of Ethan hidden beneath his cold exterior, and Ethan discovered just how extraordinary Claire truly was. Their walls slowly disappeared. Their connection deepened. And during one unforgettable evening, it felt as though they were no longer enemies, not even fake spouses, but two people who genuinely enjoyed being together. Neither wanted the moment to end, because somewhere along the journey, they had stopped acting and started falling. But happiness has a strange habit of attracting storms, and waiting in the shadows was someone ready to tear them apart. Victoria had one final plan, and it worked. Through carefully arranged lies and misunderstandings, she convinced Claire that Ethan still loved his former fiancée. The discovery shattered Claire's heart. She had never intended to fall in love, but somehow she had. And now, she believed she had been foolish. Unable to bear the pain, Claire packed her things and left. She decided it was time to end their arrangement forever. Ethan returned home to find the apartment empty. And for the first time in his life, success, money, and reputation meant nothing, because the woman who had changed his world was gone. The silence inside the apartment felt unbearable. And suddenly, Ethan understood the truth. He wasn't losing a fake wife. He was losing the love of his life. But would he realize it before it was too late? Or had destiny finally separated them forever? Sometimes people only understand the value of love when they stand on the edge of losing it. Ethan Hayes finally saw the truth. He loved Claire completely, and he refused to let misunderstandings destroy what they had built together. He confronted Victoria and ended the chapter that had lingered far too long. Then he set out to find the woman who had captured his heart. Meanwhile, Claire struggled to move on. She tried convincing herself that leaving had been the right choice, but memories of Ethan followed her everywhere. Despite everything, she still loved him. And perhaps love itself wasn't the problem. Perhaps fear was. Fear of getting hurt. Fear of trusting again. But true love rarely gives up easily. And Ethan Hayes had no intention of surrendering. Because this time, he wasn't fighting for business. He wasn't fighting for reputation. He was fighting for the woman he wanted to decide What had started with chaos, champagne, and a terrible mistake had become the greatest blessing of their lives. Claire and Ethan stood face to face once more. No pretending, no lies, no misunderstandings, only honesty and love. For the first time, Ethan lowered every wall around his heart and confessed what he had been afraid to admit. He loved Claire, not because fate had forced them together, but because she had become the most important person in his world. And with tears in her eyes, Claire admitted the truth as well. She had fallen in love with a man she once considered her enemy. Together, they laughed at the irony, because life had brought them together in the most unexpected way. Not through a perfect romance, but through accidents, arguments, jealousy, and countless unforgettable moments. The marriage they once wanted to escape had become the home they never knew they needed. And instead of ending it, they chose forever.
Let's make a toast to Ethan and Claire. Together forever!